So, as most of us now know, the Infantry Combat Overhaul is going live on the 27th of September and is going to be changing the shape and dynamic of squad as we once knew it. Now, I have extensively covered all of the changes in a whole host of videos on this topic throughout all of the playtests. What this video is about, however, is how to best prepare yourself for these monumental changes and to give yourself the best chance in not only enjoying the overhaul, but how to get the most out of it and even get the upper hand on those around you. I'll break this video down into 4 main segments: the basics, the tactics, what to do if you really don't enjoy it, and a great way to learn the basics. So, without further ado, let's get into this. The first thing to do before you even start this up, you need to try and approach this as open-minded as you can. The changes are huge, so expect to feel useless, overwhelmed, frustrated, and in time, very tired. You're essentially having to learn a new game, and those of you who have been playing Squad for years will probably have a bit of a harder time to adjust due to muscle memory being deeply rooted within. So don't force yourself to keep burning your way through this. Take it step by step, and in a short amount of time, it will all start to make sense. Remember, this update isn't about making Squad ultra realistic like these milsimmers make it out to be. It's about making Squad players work together more, the battle plan, and making firefights more intense, more immersive, and last longer than it does when you're in bed with your better half. The first thing I want to get into is the changes to movement. Base movement speed has been slowed down by some 20%, but on top of this, leaning side to side has also been slowed down dramatically, the height in which you can vault over has also been reduced, and fall damage has been increased. The main purpose behind this is to assist in slowing down the pace of the game, to make you feel more grounded, and to root out a couple of exploits. We've all seen people who do the Rainbow Six Siege lean spam, which just looks stupid, but there was also a parkour exploit that meant you could leap off of the top of a 10-story building and you could catch yourself on a low wall by vaulting before you hit anything, thus resulting in taking no fall damage at all. Now, while the movement speed does feel hellishly slow, part of this has been done to get infantry and armoured squads to work together more. Use APCs and IFVs to transport infantry around in a mechanised fashion rather than just to camp enemy habs with high explosives. It's also to get you to think about the game on a bigger picture. A nasty habit a lot of infantry squads would have in Random Advance and Secure is as soon as they finish capping an objective, they would simply just automatically start running at the next one, leaving the point they captured wide open, which would then be recapped by the enemy team and would leave a whole bunch of infantry squads out of position whilst they're all trying to reposition. It's all about teamwork. Now, I do suggest you try playing this update on the default field of view to get a good feel for this. But if the slower pace is really getting you down, try raising your field of view to somewhere between 100 and 105. This makes movement feel basically the same speed as base game, and then it becomes one less thing for you to be subconsciously worrying about, because there's still a whole heap of other changes in this update. Oh, and now if you swap weapons, reload or bandage, you are reduced to a very slow walking pace, so you need to think about your positioning before you do any of those. To accompany this, your stamina now plays an essential role on how you as a soldier performs. Because not only does stamina affect your movement speed, you now cannot vault with no stamina, but it also has a massive effect on your weapon handling in terms of sway, misalignment, and recoil control. On your heading, you will now notice 2 small pips that move further apart or closer together. The closer they are, the more control you have over the weapon that you have. The further apart, the less. Quite simple on that, really. However, mix in the fact that if you're below around 60% stamina, not only are the pips even further apart, they're actually a hell of a lot slower to close back up. So you really do have to manage your stamina to be properly combat effective. Some weapons will be affected more than others with these mechanics, but it all points down to the same rhetoric: slow down. In the old squad, you could run around all day with no stamina and more or less just instantly snap onto an unsuspecting enemy within half a second with no problems at all. Do the same now, and you're looking at some 5 to 8 seconds before you can accurately hit your shots. Now, I'm not saying I agree with these mechanics, I'm just telling you that this is how it is, so you know what to expect. Now, whilst on the topic of weapon handling, faction by faction, everything is going to feel a little bit different. This helps each faction feel a little bit more unique and adds a small element of asymmetrical balance, which plays into your tactics, which I'll get into later on. It's going to take a little bit of time to start to relearn how weapons feel and behave, but the biggest change is actually within point or hipfire. You see, the biggest change to this was the addition of what's called free aim. Somewhat similar to Insurgency Sandstorm, it means that if you turn to the right, your weapon stays closer to the right hand side of your screen, and if you turn left, it stays near the left hand side of the screen. Same for up and down. Think of it as a bit of a dead zone, I suppose. Because your rounds now come out of the barrel as opposed to the center of your screen, where your gun is pointing is absolutely crucial. So again, this makes point fire that bit more difficult. Then add in the sway, recoil and stamina changes, it just stacks up and makes this even more violent, and again, adds to the difficulty. It can be learned, but because it's so far away from old squad, it's going to take a lot of muscle memory to break. Now, with weapon misalignment and sway control in mind, another big part of this is the addition of picture-in-picture optics across all of the factions. Some are better to use than others, but for the most part, all of them are beautiful to use. But it also gave us variable magnifications for most of the marksman sniper kits and across all of the Aussie kits, which is an amazing feature in itself. Dare I say, the one kit that has been changed the most is marksman. It's now going to be an extremely difficult role to play effectively, but to someone who is experienced and a bloody good shot, you will be an extremely valuable asset to your squad. So keep your eyes peeled for a new marksman guide in the coming weeks on this channel. Subscribe. And to finish on recoil, a lot of these changes have been done in an effort to people just full auto beaming people from 400 meters out, and instead now having to choose semi-auto to line up those accurate shots to guarantee a landed hit. Weapons such as light and heavy machine guns, and naturally their job is to fire at people within full auto, but with bullet dispersion being a thing for them now, it's advised you fire in some 3 to 10 round bursts, depending on the machine gun. The reason behind this is what we're going to dive into next, and that's suppression. Suppression has been reworked from top to bottom. The visuals are far more intense, the aim flinch is much more aggressive, and the over-penetrative effects add an amazing touch to the chaos that ensues and has a massive effect on your weapon handling and sway control. Suppression is now a usable tool to either pin down, confuse, or simply blind your enemies into submission, but can also be used to stop someone firing at your squad mates so they can reposition or protect certain armored assets from enemy anti-tank trying to swarm an immobilized vehicle. Look, the new suppression is extremely violent. There will be times you will be practically offering the enemy team your lunch money in a bid to get it to stop. Just remember, if they can use it, so can you. And now, I feel it's a good time to move into the topic of tactics, and the first one is a bit of a given. If in doubt, just defend. Being on the defensive objectives, being dug in and set up ready for the enemy leaves you at such a massive advantage to the enemies attacking you, simply because you aren't running around using up all of your stamina, so you're already in a good position to fire upon someone when you see them. I honestly think we're going to see a huge upturn in super fobs on objectives now in an effort to make attacking even more difficult, but to also aid in the defense of the point and to help keep you occupied whilst waiting on the enemy attacking. But being defensive isn't all about sitting in a Hesco bunker playing Minecraft. In this video here, I was one of 3 squads defending, but it was our job to intercept enemies who were trying to put down habs and rallies to attack our defensive point. Now, a quick strat for attacking is a bit of a shock and awe tactic. Again, leaning on your armoured squads. A great move is to load up 1 or 2 infantry squads into infantry fighting vehicles. Get both of them to bum rush onto the objective all guns blazing. Their autocannons will induce huge suppression on the enemy, but get them to use their driver smoke on the way in and out to help conceal you as you either follow them in or to cover you when you all dismount in the middle of the objective. Now, it doesn't always work. Enemy mines or anti-tank can quickly undo this push, but when it does, it's absolute carnage and can be so devastating to the enemy to a point where it's impossible for them to recover it. A similar strat is to have 1 or 2 infantry squads set up close and hidden to the attack point and wait for your commander's artillery. Make sure smoke mortars are thrown inside the blast radius to really add to the carnage and push like hell when the opportunity arises. Now, say you're on the hunt for an enemy hab, this is a time to make good use of your fire teams. Either split yourself into 2 groups, or if you guys are highly experienced, into 3 groups of 3. A simple way of putting this is you get Bravo team to go left, Alpha team to go right, and Charlie to be head on. What you then do is you use your machine gunners to suppress from one angle. I prefer them to be head on for this one, whilst the other 2 curves around and makes a pincer movement and eventually overruns the hab. Because they're too distracted and suppressed by your machine gunners, it means the rest of your infantry kind of moves around with a bit of free reign. Another alternative, if you don't want to split into fire teams, is think about your formation. Don't all be grouped up in one big blob. Again, whilst hab hunting, I like to have my guys in a fanned out line with the 2 medics behind and then push up essentially like a sweeping brush. This gives you a really good wide spread, but if one side of the brush gets snagged, the rest of the squad can simply fold around and it then becomes a pincer movement. Make sure the squad leader updates their rally fairly frequently with this one, as it helps keep the push forward set. But those are my basic tactics for use for this. I'm sure more will come out and I'll do more videos on them in good time. But now is the time to get into what to do if you really don't enjoy this overhaul. You want to keep playing it, but because your friends are. Well, now is the time to take up and learn armoured vehicles. There, you don't have to worry about sway, stamina or suppression. All you have to do is make sure you support your team accordingly, don't drive in the middle of nowhere and be useless, and generally just be a good team player. I have a really old armor guide for beginners I highly recommend you check out. Please ignore the fact it was my first ever squad guide. I may refresh this soon, but the main points I talk about in there are still extremely relevant. Maybe apart from armor not leading the push anymore, as IFVs will be used for hot drops more often. Another great strat to play, which has an extremely powerful effect on the battlefield now, is running door gunner on a helicopter. Heli squads will be going away from just being a 1-man lock squad to now a 3 or 4-man squad. Door gunners, with their suppression and dispersion, can create huge amounts of carnage and really ruin an infantry squad's day, be it on defense or offense. And finally, you can't beat setting up a good old-fashioned toe fob to ruin any enemy armor. And now, onto my last segment, a fantastic game mode to help learn these infantry mechanics with absolutely 0 repercussions. Where going things like 3 kills and 50 deaths means absolutely nothing, you want to join a server that is currently seeding. You can literally pick any kit for the factions that are on that layer, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff to learn what you can and cannot do in this update. My squad server, Dead on Dismount, generally seeds daily at around 1800 CET, and we try to mix up the factions and maps we use to give good variety. It doesn't matter if you're a brand new player or a 10,000 hour vet, everyone is welcome to join, and it's free to do so. Link to the Dead on Dismount Discord server should be on screen now, and I do look forward to seeing you in there. Seeding really is a great way to learn these mechanics, and on top of that, it makes for a fantastic warm-up as you do start getting used to them, and as it fills up and then goes live, and you start playing regular games with the people you've been messing around with, so it helps with camaraderie and the potential for a few new friendships. And that's it. It's taken me a handful of playtests to really get a good grasp of this overhaul. Initially, yes, you are going to see less kills at the end of a round, but in time, as you learn all of these new mechanics and new tactics, it won't be long till you start racking them up again. I know it's going to be a struggle. I've gone through this myself. Just think yourself lucky you didn't have to go through some of the painful bollocks we went through in the playtests, because some of it was bad. Please hit that thumbs up if you like this video, share it with someone who you think needs a helping hand, but most importantly, don't forget to subscribe for more squad guides, gameplay and updates, as I will also have a patch notes video up for all of this on Tuesday the 26th. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in my next video or my server. Good night.